want to talk about rentals. It's the hot season for rentals in Israel. It's summertime now. As well, with all the damages from the Israel-Iran war, a lot of people are looking for new apartments or for temporary apartments to rent. As an Israeli real estate broker, how can one remotely look for an apartment? If it's before coming to Israel or even in Israel, if someone is looking for an apartment to rent, how can he find one?
It's a great question. First of all, we don't have MLS in Israel, so it's very hard to find in one place all the properties. What we usually do is look in Madlan or Yad Shtaim or Facebook or Instagram groups.
Groups, yeah.
And start looking for the area you want, the size you need. I suggest that if you live abroad and you're looking for an apartment, hire someone and he can help you ask all the relevant questions, find the right property for you, make videos and everything around it, and he knows where to look. Also, there are like WhatsApp group between real estate agents that not a lot of apartments are published.
Right. And besides that, most of the publishing about apartments in the Facebook post or Instagram post are in Hebrew. So like maybe 95% of it's in Hebrew. If you can't understand, so hire someone that can find it for you. This is why you pay the broker, right?
Yep.
Mayan, how much does a broker charge if you hire him to find an apartment for rent?
For rentals, it's 1 month plus VAT from the rental fees.
Okay.
So if we speak about rentals in Israel, it's really different than the other countries. What does the apartment come with and what the apartment come without? It's a great question because in Israel it comes pretty empty. No appliances, no furnitures.
That's right.
Usually it comes without it. If you want to add to it, you have to look specifically for apartments has those criteria, but it's very hard to find them. Mm-hmm. Usually that comes even without like light bulbs or oven.
Especially new apartments, because you get them stripped from everything and you need to take care of everything by yourself.
Exactly. So it's very important to ask, what is the apartment coming with or without? Usually it comes without anything. Check the apartment physically. Check there are no leaks in the apartment. Check if the apartment is painted. You have to check all the criteria and also go through every single thing in the apartment. The windows closed, it has blind, it doesn't have blind.
Right, so if you decided you're going for that apartment anyway, after you saw all these damages and wet spot or molds, so make sure what's the source of the problem, that the owner can fix it and it won't come back. And by law, it's the responsibility of the owner to fix it. You shouldn't take it on yourself and do it. And this is one of the things that the owner is obligated to do.
So from the legal aspect, you get the contract from the landlord, and you need to review it. Do you need to provide anything else except for the rent that you agreed upon? Or
Well, the most important thing when you get the contract is have a lawyer that review it. And there's sometimes a lot of clauses that are missing or need to be added on that will protect you as a tenant. And besides that, something that a lot of people are not aware of just before they sign the contract is you got to have guarantees. By law, when a landlord asks for guarantees, you should know that there are a few kinds of guarantees he can ask you for, and some of them are limited by law. So the first one, which is the better one for the landlord, is to take a cash deposit. And the second
literally
one,
cash.
Yeah, it's literally cash. It doesn't have to be like paying cash like with bills, but it can be a cash deposit that you make a wire to his account and he can hold it for you until you go out. Okay? That make sure everything is okay when you go out.
So when you leave the apartment, you get the
Exactly.
cash back. Do you get interest from it or just it's sitting in his pocket?
I don't know any landlord that will give you interest on it.
Okay.
So
I
you can
have to
forget about
ask.
that. Yeah, you can forget about that unless you put it in the contract, so it can be like a saving deposit. But I'm not. I don't know a lot of people that will agree for that. The second guarantee we have is a bank guarantee. So once you agree on the guarantee, let's say it's 2 or 3 months, you go to the bank, you get a guarantee, and it goes out from your account to a separate deposit, and the bank holds it. And the landlord only gets the bank guarantee paper or digital, so he can use it once you're in a breach of contract or something like that.
Can he ask any amount he wants? The guarantee?
No, that's a good question. That's exactly the point. So by law, the two guarantees we spoke about, one is the bank guarantee and the cash deposit are limited to up to 3 months of rent. Okay, so let's say you're renting an apartment for 10,000 shekel. The maximum guarantee as a bank guarantee or cash deposit, it's 30,000.
30,000.
Okay, so we spoke about the two strongest guarantees for the landlord, which are the cash deposit and the bank guarantee.
And they're limited.
Yeah, and they're limited to up to 3 months of rent. Okay, so the other guarantees you can give, or you can ask if you're a landlord, are guarantors. Usually you ask for 1 or 2 guarantors and do like financial background checks to see they're stable, so they can sign on the contract with the tenants.
Should I bring whoever I want, or it has to be someone close to me? Like my neighbor, would he be a guarantor, or?
It can be anybody, but the landlord will check, or he should check the financial stability of them, so they're good enough for him. So
How can he check if the tenants or the guarantors are legit, or they're okay to be guarantors?
So usually what people do are ask for payment slips or pay stubs to see what's the income of the tenant or the guarantors, so he knows he's okay and he can approve it.
So it's common for a landlord to ask to see the income of the tenants or his guarantors.
Right.
It's a bit.
It's totally acceptable here.
Yeah,
it's one of the only ways for a landlord to check how much you make and if you can pay the rent payments each month.
It's a very big differences between the cultures. It's also we have here, as you know, companies that can actually send a questionnaire to the tenant and ask them question. Based on that, they will give you an answer to rent the apartment to this individual or not. So we use also this.
Right, but some of the checks you can do by yourself if you're a landlord now. We spoke about your rights as a tenant, now we're speaking about as a landlord. You can check if one is a bankruptcy and to see his stability.
One more thing that I wanted to say, that this is the cultural differences that comes here again, that the Israeli chutzpah to ask to see my income, but this is common here. That's how we check that the person that you're giving him your apartment is legit and is okay and he has an income. So
right.
What happened when you don't have guarantors? A lot of foreigners that comes here, they don't have guarantors. Their parents are in America, or they don't want to ask their parents to be guarantors.
So for what I've seen until now, from my experience, sometimes if you give full guarantees, like we said, up to 3 months, which is the maximum, or and you sign a high amount of deed as a second guarantee, so sometimes they'll pass on guarantors. You don't have to bring it, but it depends on the landlord.
I also saw sometimes if you pay the whole year in advance. Do you recommend it?
If someone can, yeah. Sometimes you can ask for a discount for that if you pay upfront the whole year. Yeah. That's a good idea, but I don't know. Sometimes if something happens, you need to go out of the apartment, go fight with the landlord to get your money back. So
well, that's why we have you as a lawyer to put the closure there.
I always put the difference, especially to clients, so they can know it, between legal issues and commercial issues. Okay, it's totally legal to charge in advance the whole year by the landlord, and it's a commercial term. Okay, you need to know how to save. You save yourself in case you want to go out from the apartment and get your money back, but it's totally legit, and the landlord can ask for it.
Who's deciding of the commercials terms, and who's deciding on the legal terms? Does the real estate agent? Does the lawyer? Who's doing what?
Well, usually the first call is between the client and the broker, and he tell him what he needs and what he's looking for, and this is how much I can pay. This is what I need. And the broker turns to the landlord, and the landlord has his own demands, right? So we gotta meet in the middle to see if we can agree on it. And once we get the contract, we just start agreeing on the legal terms.
So the commercial aspect is the real estate agent.
Right.
It's the time, the dates, the payments.
Right.
Also the guarantees and guarantors.
Guarantees is commercial term, but I can say that as a lawyer, sometimes I see radical commercial request and term, so I tell my client to change it, or I change it myself and ask for the landlord to give up on something.
Amazing. What else from the aspect of the contract? If I want to live in the middle of the contract.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
So by the Israeli law, you even if it doesn't written in the contract, there's an option for you to leave the contract, to leave the apartment, and get someone to replace you on the same terms of the contract you signed.
Even if it's not written in the contract.
Even if it's not written, okay, you can do that and can find a replacement. I mean, the landlord can refuse, but only in common reasons. Not every time he can say no, but you need to prove that he said no if it's uncommon. But yeah, you can bring someone to replace you on the same terms, on the same contract, on the same period you have left, the same lease amount. And this is one option to leave. If in some cases the apartment is no longer inhabitable to live in and there's something wrong with it, there's a huge leak or a mold in the apartment or something.
Or a window broke from a missile.
Maybe, yeah, if your wall came down or something or your mamad got hit. So sometimes you can say that there's an option for you to terminate the contract. That's one case. There's another option to leave the apartment and terminate the contract without any reason, but only if you agreed on from the beginning, if you put it in the contract, if you read it, okay? So if you want to leave the apartment and terminate the contract, you got to make sure that from the beginning, when you sign the contract, there's a clause there that says that from any reason, you can make a notice to the landlord and tell him at least 2 months in advance you want to leave, okay? And you don't have to bring someone to replace you, and you can just do it, okay? By the way, in a lot of times, you can see the opposite clause in the
contract that the landlord can tell you.
That the landlord can move you out without any reason. So you
within 60 days?
So yeah, that's a good question, because sometimes you can see even less. You can see 30 days or 40 days, but the only legal clause is only if the tenant has a parallel right to do it as well, and that the landlord gives at least 90 days to the tenant to leave. Okay? But it's only if both sides has the same...
So if I put as a landlord 30 days and you as a tenant doesn't have anything, it's not...
So it's illegal, yeah.
It's
Even
illegal.
if you do have a right as a tenant to do the same, your right...
The period has to be the same?
Exactly. Your right for the pre-notice has to be at least 90 days from the tenant, from the landlord.
I want to ask you something. We did not speak about it before our prep, but... Israeli landlords in Israel, you know, they're notorious. They want to get as much as they want and they give nothing. How do I prevent a landlord like this in the beginning? What do I do?
Well, once you see the apartment, start asking questions, okay? If it's through the broker, if it's straight, if you want to talk to the landlord, it's very recommended to try to have a conversation with before and not just come and sign the contract without talking to him before. And try to feel the vibe to see how it is and see how he answer your questions. Ask him what happened if this happens and what if that happens, to see how he answers you, and you can get the feeling if he's going to come forward with any problem in the future or not.
So basically communication with the owner himself and understand the vibe that he's giving you. And
there's another...
that's a great idea.
Yeah. And there's another important thing that we didn't discuss is sometimes, it's very rare, but it happens sometimes, that sometimes the owner or the people that signed the contract as a landlord isn't really the owner. So this is something we need to check before, because sometimes it's just someone's relative or even a broker who signs or a property manager who signs as a landlord. So one day you can wake up and the real owner will tell you, I didn't sign anything with you, get out of my apartment.
What should you ask for whoever signed?
So today in Israel, you have the land register, you can get a nesach tabo, like a land extract, and to see who's the owner of the apartment. Usually you should give your lawyer to do that check for you.
Or ask for power of attorney from this individual.
Ask for power of attorney, ask to see a copy of the ID of the owner, to see that it matches to the registration, to see that he is the owner.
Okay, we found an apartment. I'm in Los Angeles, you're in Israel, the landlord, the apartment in Israel. How do I sign now?
Pretty easy. You don't have to come here to sign. You can sign by email. You can sign by any digital software. It doesn't obligate you to come and sign in the original copy of it. And besides that, you can give power of attorney to someone, to your lawyer. It's recommended to do that, and he can sign it for you if you want to sign before you come here.
Can the lawyer also live in the apartment?
It's very recommended, especially if it's a good apartment and if it looks nice and has a jacuzzi in it. So yeah. We all know that because it's summertime, and summertime is the hot season for rentals. And because what everything went on with the Iran-Israel war and a lot of apartments got damaged, and because of anti-Semitism in the world and what's going on, the lease market is booming right now. Literally booming, and not a lot of apartments for everyone. Summer is the right season to find an apartment or try to find an apartment. So how can you feel it? Like, do you have a lot of people contacting you this period more than usually this year?
There are around 18,000 people who's evacuating from their houses.
Because of the war.
Because of the war. So they're looking for apartments, and it's beyond the reason that it's like high season and people who's making aliyah. So the demand is very high, and we don't have enough apartments.
Mm-hmm.
I think the government should take some offices and make it for living, because there are not enough in the central of Israel.
The result is the rent is just increasing, going up.
Yeah, the rent is increasing, and it's all about free market and supply and demand.
Right. And another thing that's important to mention, that there's no limits on landlords on increasing rent once the contract is expired. Let's say you rented an apartment for 5,000 shekel for 2 years now, and your contract is expired. Your landlord can ask for 7,000 or 8,000, depends on the market right now. So there's no limits by law on private properties. And this is also what's causing the increasing in rents.
Also, there are so many people who want to buy an apartment, but the prices are so high, so they decide to rent for now.
Right. And this is another reason why the rent is high, because a lot of the property taxes are high, and interest on mortgages are really high today as well. So there's a lot of things to do to make the rent lower. Mayan, what about utilities? I mean, the water bills, electricity, the arnona, which is the municipality tax, which is a monthly tax or a dual monthly. Who pays that? Is it the landlord or the tenant himself pays it?
The tenant.
The tenant. Okay, so mostly everything. The tenant pays mostly everything.
Yeah, he pays the rent, he pays the utility bills,
right.
And also he needs to provide all the guarantees, for guarantees.
That brings me to a very important point that we need to clarify, that sometimes when people see apartments, make sure they have specific different meters for electricity, water, and sometimes gas. So you know exactly how to read it and how much you should pay. And sometimes there's split apartments. So maybe you're paying for someone else water or electricity. So that's important as well.